Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Friday, 2nd February 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. St. Lucia is challenged, like many of her OECS neighbours, with 3 respiratory threats. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. St. Lucia's health sector is girding for a triple threat: COVID's resurgence, influenza A and B, and RSV, with the CMO, the Chief Medical Officer, urging citizens' vigilance and ramped-up public health measures to tackle the viral blitz. Stanley Lucian of HTS News Force reports.
St. Lucia's healthcare sector is confronted by a triple threat of respiratory illnesses. The Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belma George, says St. Lucia is not going it alone in its effort to keep COVID-19 and its co-conspirators under control.
We as citizens, we also need to take personal responsibility for our health. We know how this is transmitted, and we also know that the most vulnerable groups are persons with chronic illnesses and the elderly. So in relation to increased sanitation, which is what we've asked the public to do, the hand washing, and we have a very strong recommendation for the elderly and persons with high risk or chronic illnesses, the use of the face mask to reduce the impact of them getting COVID-19 or any other respiratory illness at this time.
The recent upsurge in COVID-19 has resulted in deaths and increased hospitalization. This comes as St. Lucia prepares to host some major mass crowd events, cricket, carnival, jazz, among the other social activities, banking on the numbers for their success.
We have been working closely as a region because we are aware that there is an increased risk of infectious diseases, and we're not only speaking about respiratory diseases like COVID, but general infectious diseases entry into St. Lucia. So we have been meeting with our regional public health agencies to ensure plans on a number of levels are in place. Myself and other members of the Ministry of Health, we form part of the local organizing committee for the cricket coming up. And we also form part of the regional organization managing the public health impacts of activities at this time. So there are a number of things that we are putting in place. Increased testing capacity, increased surveillance at the ports. Our health facilities as well have to have the capacity to be able to manage diseases and illnesses that we have probably not managed before. So from last year, we have been working with the regional public health agencies, putting these measures in place to reduce impact and to give us the capacity to be able to detect in a timely manner the introduction of infectious diseases, which is a possibility with mass crowd events of this nature.
The Chief Medical Officer says St. Lucia's public healthcare sector has moved into a state of readiness, piggybacking on some of the tried and tested measures last time around.
At this point, we've had a history of the management of COVID-19, and we have integrated COVID-19 into our general health system. So what we advise persons, personal responsibility is extremely important. The Ministry of Health, we've taken on the role in terms of ensuring that our health facilities are prepared to manage increases in hospitalization. We have been meeting with the various sectors in relation to central procurement and equipment and supplies, preparing in relation to our ventilators, etc.
This is not unfamiliar territory for St. Lucia's healthcare sector, though the threat this time around involves not only a deadly variant of COVID-19, but also influenza A and B and respiratory syncytial illness. Stanley Lucian for the HCS News Force.
In recent times, several customers have complained about losing money from their bank accounts. It's a development that is affecting not only customers in St. Kitts and Nevis, but across the Caribbean, with people having hundreds of thousands of dollars withdrawn or used from their accounts by phishing or other forms of online theft. Andre Huey of SKN Newsline has more.
On the latest edition of Newsline 360, which airs on TVC Channel 40 on the cable on Tuesday, January 31st, IT expert and educator Inoite Inanga says this happens partly because persons may unknowingly be sharing their banking information on fake websites which allow hackers to gain access to their accounts.
How do you know a dodgy website? One of the first things that you can look for is a website that might be posing as something else. So you can look for Amazon.com. It may be spelled AMASON.com. You may look for the green bar that says secured HTTPS, but this time it's just HTTP with the same name.
And the lock is not there.
And the lock is not there. You know, or you go on a website, and to have gotten to that website, you've had to click on so many different things just to get to what you're looking for. And a lot of times, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I've seen ads pop up on Facebook for stuff that Facebook knew that I would want. And it was tempting to actually go ahead and make the purchase. And I said, no. There's no way something that is of this value should be sold for this amount of money. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, you know? So now how do you protect yourself?
Unless it's on Alibaba.
Good one. So how do you protect yourself? Once again, you have to make sure that you are not using the same password for all those other websites, because once again, the silver bullet is in getting one password if you're using that same password across so many websites, because they can log into, let's say, your Google account, your Google Chrome browser, which stores all your information. Can you imagine?
Is it wise then to be saving all your information on the browser, on Google Chrome?
It makes it convenient.
Right.
It's a better browsing experience. But what I found, some of these websites, even like Google, I don't think you know, in the past, you could have used your Gmail username and password to access Microsoft Outlook. That's no longer the case anymore. They've increased the level of security with that. So if you want to use a third party to access your Google information, you have to create a separate password within your account for that particular service. And you can create multiple passwords that never tie back to your initial password. That is a layer of security.
I didn't realize that.
That is a layer of security. So you no longer do that. I mean, you can't use a third party with Google anymore. You're forced to do that.
I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The Bahamas' Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernanda gives an update on the open homicide investigations. More in this ZNS News item.
The police commissioner's primary goal at today's press conference was to update the country on investigations into 2024's 19 homicides, at the heart of which are still retaliations and conflicts. Clayton Fernanda detailing the startling discovery detectives made when they arrested the suspect of homicide number 13. That's when Jason Lamb of Jean Street was shot in his car at the intersection of Village and Parkgate Roads.
When he was arrested, he was taken home and his house was searched. It was at this time that detectives realized that he was being monitored. His monitor was taken off and he had it resting in a box in his room. And he is on bail for murder. we had him do a demo on how he got his monitoring off. And we recorded it, and I had a meeting now with the company so that they could view that device now to strengthen that, to ensure that it don't happen again.
In the meantime, the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Philip Davis, holds a joint press conference with Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernanda. Carla Palmer of ZNS News reports.
Just last week in Parliament, the Prime Minister introduced amendments to the Bail Act. He's promising a more comprehensive account on the matter when the House of Assembly convenes this Wednesday at 10 a.m. The Prime Minister says, among other things, the government will be revisiting the ankle monitoring contract.
Failure is not an option in our fight against crime. It is as complex as possible. It is a complex issue, and we need to have tools that are effective in our arsenal to enable us to dismantle the issues that impact crime.
Prime Minister the Honourable Philip Davis meeting with the hierarchy of the police force Tuesday evening as the crime plan he first outlined to the public several weeks ago is already being executed by police. And in the face of 19 murders so far this year, he offered his continued and unwavering support for law enforcement.
We've had a tragic start to 2024 with an outbreak of gang violence and a series of retaliations. One homicide is one too many. But to start the year this way, with one after another, our families and our communities, they grieve, they're angry, they're in pain, and afraid. That's why it's important, I think, to share some of the developments that are underway so that Bahamians know that while making enduring progress on crime, that requires solving multiple complex, stubborn, and interwoven problems. There can indeed still be a light at the end of the dark tunnel. We are implementing a detailed plan that addresses prevention, policing, prosecution, punishment, and rehabilitation. We are investing in training for your officers and equipping you with the necessary tools to protect our communities.
Prime Minister Davis emphasized the importance of public support in the crime fight. As he says, it's the only way we can build a safer and stronger Bahamas. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Carla Palmer.
Trinidad and Tobago's Youth Minister, Foster Cummings, is assuring that the government continues to help youth develop their business skills. One information technology company has advised that while artificial intelligence is important, it must be balanced with ethics. Lucia Alonso has the details in this edition of CNC3 Business Watch.
The government continues to place efforts on young people. This is the assurance from Minister of Youth Development, Foster Cummings, who says offering business opportunities is one way of keeping youths out of a life of crime.
If we get our young people involved in more productive activity and create more opportunities for them and get them off the street and get them involved in training programs and equip them for the place of work and business, you think we'll have less of them on the street available to the persons who are involved in criminal activity to be able to recruit them?
Cummings also lauded entities like NEDCO, which is also providing opportunities to small entities. To date, almost 4,000 grants have been given to various businesses. Cummings was speaking at the launch of the Micro and Small Business Grant held on Tuesday. And as much as people want security, they are also concerned about their privacy. And according to Carl White, president of the US-based company Gopher Group, there must be that balance of ethics in artificial intelligence.
And with this advent of AI, it raises important ethical considerations around privacy and transparency.
White further notes that no one wants to be constantly watched.
As much as we want security, we also are concerned about our privacies. We want to make sure that we're safe, but Big Brother is not watching all the time.
However, White says, the good news is that recent regulations highlighted the need for responsible AI use. White was speaking at day 2 of the Cantor Conference held on Tuesday.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.